Have you ever celebrated Michaelmas? It is the feast of the Archangels, Saints Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. In Western Christian liturgical calendars, it is a Christian festival observed on 29 September, and in the Eastern Christian traditions on the 8th November. The name Michaelmas comes from a shortening of Michael's Mass in the same style as Christmas. Michaelmas has also been one of the four quarter days of the English and Irish financial, judicial, and academic year. One of Saint Michael's apparition took place during the plague in Rome, when he announced the end of the epidemic. In the dream, the Pope Saint Gregory the Great saw the archangel above Hadrian's Mole. When the prediction of the archangel came true, the Pope changed the name of Hadrian's Mole in Castel San Angelo. A basilica in Rome was dedicated in honor of Saint Michael the Archangel on 30 September, beginning with celebration on the eve of that day. 29th September is now kept in honor of Saint Michael and all angels, though the Archangel Michael is considered as the greatest of all the angels. The most famous of his sanctuaries is Monte Sant Angelo, and it is the fifth stop along Saint Michael's sword stretching from Ireland to Israel. The sanctuary was built after an apparition of Saint Michael the Archangel on Monte Gargano in 490. 2 days before the Feast of St. Michael starts, a procession takes place in the streets of the city. It beautifully reflects the 3 episodes of St. Michael's apparitions on Monte Gargano. The apparition of the bull tells that a rich landowner from Siponto, named Gargan or Garganus, lost his bull up the mount. Unable to reach the animal, the man threw an arrow at the bull. The arrow turned back, hitting him. According to some traditions, the arrow killed the owner of the bull, as it was not a man but a human flesh-eating giant venerated on the mount by pagans. Other versions say that the man ran to tell the event to Bishop Lorenzo Majorano. At the end of the 3rd day of prayers, Saint Michael appeared in a dream to the bishop, confirming the miracle and asking him to consecrate the cave to him. It was just the same cave where the bull was found while kneeling in front of it. However, the Bishop Majorano hesitated before following the words of the archangel. It was because it had been the seat of pagan cults. At this point, the narrative of the Golden Legend is interrupted, and the account of Saint Michael's military intervention is taken up. As the story goes, the so-called Apparition of the Victory took place in 492, whereas according to historians it may reflect an event of a confrontation between the Byzantines, called here the Neapolitans, and Lombards in the 7th century. The evening before the battle, Saint Michael appeared again to Bishop San Lorenzo Majorano, announcing that the following day the victory would be assured to the Lombards. The fight on the following day was accompanied by earthquakes, thunders and lightning, and ended with victory of Siponto. The Neapolitans were defeated, and as a sign of Saint Michael's aid, the archangel left the mark of his footprint in the stone of the cave where Garganus had been killed. It was a footprint of a child. The date of victory marked another day dedicated to the veneration of the saint, May the 8th. Then the story comes back to the previous narrative, and here is an account of the 3rd apparition occurred in 493, when the archangel appeared to the bishop again to tell him that the grotto didn't need human consecration, as it had already been consecrated by the very presence of Saint Michael. During the episode of consecration, Majorano and some other bishops went to the place. As the legend goes, some eagles protected the bishops from the summer sun with the shadow of their wings. On the spot, they saw a rough stone altar with a cloth and a cross, the relics left by Saint Michael himself. Afterwards, the bishops celebrated the first Eucharist on site. It was indeed the beginning of the celestial basilica. It was also the beginning of our celebrations and our stay at Monte Sant Angelo, the highest inhabited center of Gargano, with his protector saint, the Archangel Michael. The narrative of the 3 episodes, the Apparitione Sancti Michaelis, is a hagiographical and composite foundation myth of Monte Sant Angelo, a compilation of legends on the apparitions of Saint Michael the Archangel. The final version was possibly created around 900, but more ancient written versions of the legend had already circulated between 800 and 850. Those were compiled on the ground of earlier traditions. Accordingly, the composition of the story, or rather stories, must already have appeared between 750 and 800. Yet a contemporaneous anonymous writer still mentions an original version of the legend, which is estimated even for the 6th century, so 1 century after the described apparitions. For centuries, the Holy Cave has been the center of countless pilgrimages, a place of prayer and, above all, a place of reconciliation with God. Over the course of 15 centuries, Christians from all over the world have come to the sanctuary of Monte Gargano, the house of God and the gate of heaven, to find peace and forgiveness in the arms of God's love, to honor Saint Michael the Archangel, Prince of the heavenly hosts, preaching like him with all their life, who is like God. Among the pilgrims who visited this place, there were many popes, rulers, government leaders and ministers, as well as many saints, such as Saint Francis of Assisi, and thousands of pilgrims from all nations, who in this place, through the powerful intercession of Saint Michael the Archangel, found forgiveness, hope, and peace of mind. Monte Sant Angelo is also a town of multiple attractions, such as culture, nature, delicious Italian food, wine, and tradition. We are looking down on Manfredonia Bay, surrounded by the white houses hanging from the Mount of the Archangel.